welcome everybody to this Ed Dale live broadcast. Welcome if you're listening to the podcast later in the week or you're watching the replay, or indeed if you are here live now, a special big welcome to you. We've got a great show, got some really good questions and a great hot seat on an app, which there'll be a lot of great lessons to learn in this, which is going to be very fun. Also today I wanted to mention before we kick off that I am coming to the United States. I'm going to do 2 workshops in the US. The first one I'm going to do on the 29th and 30th of October in San Diego, and then to head over to the East Coast, going to be in Orlando on the 5th and 6th of November. And we've got some very special rates. If you like the sort of the hot seats and what we do, imagine if I'm working with you. These workshops are really small groups, right? The idea is to keep it super small so that we make sure that your biggest questions about your business, what you got, a traffic problem, a funnel problem? And we do it in such a way as that particularly this new workshop it's going to be a bit like a magic trick where you come with your biggest problems and we solve them. And I say we because in a workshop situation there are some really amazing techniques, and in fact in this workshop, part of the workshop will be teaching you how to use this particular new technique and apply it when you go back home as well, so you can use it as well. So we're going to be doing that. If you're interested, you can go to eddale.co/workshop-OCT, that's like for October, -2016 or 2016. So that's eddale.co/workshop-oct-2016, 2016. So would love to have you come to the workshop. Love to have some people who are listeners or watchers on the stream. That would be really fantastic to have you guys there. Also, I have to also mention, of course, that the challenge is available right now as we speak. It's all new. It's all completely updated. People ask me where to start. I get questions every week on the Ask Ed Dale Live, and the best place to start is the challenge, to understand pains, gains, jobs to be done, which we'll use quite a bit today. Also, just to figure out, building that first funnel, building that first list, and all the important things that are important for that. So that is a really big deal. And of course, as always, doesn't matter whether you're watching live. And of course, if you're watching live, you can add a question in right now, as Luke just did, for example, and we'll answer them live. Or indeed, if you can't make it, and of course, for those of you who are listening on the podcast, or indeed watching later on in the week, you are able to, of course, leave a question 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you'd like me to do a hot seat on your business, on your app, whatever you're struggling with, is it list building, is it traffic, let me know. Give me as much detail as you can, and I'll do my best to figure that out. And from the feedback that I'm getting, people are loving the hot seat, so love to do those for you guys as well. All right, so let's get into some questions first before we get into the hot seat. So let's get it up here, and let's go with Luke, seeing he's on live. Luke asks, what kind of bonuses can I offer when I am just starting out? Okay, so this is a good question. So for your first product, when you don't have a lot of things, what can you offer? I think the best thing that you can offer when you're starting out for bonuses is often your time. So things like a special private workshop, like I'm doing right now, although this is not private, but it's a workshop sort of thing, where you can offer, for example, a free webinar to go along with whatever product. I think that is a wonderful way of doing things. Some sort of, in my case, sometimes I offer a half an hour private consulting session. Again, it depends on your level of expertise and where you're at. You do say you're just starting out. So I would think about, again, go to your pains, gains, and jobs to be done list. Can you create a special PDF report which shows 10 fantastic videos on YouTube which solve a particular huge pain? You don't have to create this stuff. It costs you $5 to do on Fiverr, and you can make it all pretty and make it look good. And that can be a bonus that you use. Advice on bonuses in general. So general, in general sort of advice with bonuses. Don't whack in bonuses just for the sake of putting in bonuses, right, that you need to do. Bonuses, I think, work best when they allow the purchaser of the initial product, and I suppose I should define bonuses. Bonuses, typically, you have your core product, this is the thing that people want to buy, and then to entice people to buy, bonuses are a tried and true method where you add on things to the package to make it more valuable. Now, typically, sometimes people stuff this up and they have the problem where you get a whole bunch of bonuses which are completely unrelated to the topic at hand and completely useless. Okay, so that's not the type of bonuses we want. Typically, as a general rule, bonuses allow people to get the task at hand, whatever the course is, whatever you're offering, whatever problem you're solving, whatever destination you're offering, to get them there faster, right? So a bonus helps them get it there faster. Or a bonus helps them get it there easier. Faster and easier are always good bonuses because they're relevant to the thing. You can go, so to give you an example, very successful bonus that we offered over the years was with Magcast. So Magcast is a digital magazine app on the iOS and Android store, very successful product. It allowed you to be a digital publisher on the mobile platform. Really cool. Now, in analysing that, we found that some people found the technical aspects of that a little bit overwhelming. Now, we had step-by-step guides and so on, you could go through that. But as a bonus, we offered, and this goes to upsells as well, we offered a done-for-you service where people actually paid us extra money, so it was more an upsell than a bonus. Bonuses typically be free. That we just did all of the technical stuff for you, and that was a very popular bonus, very popular upsell. So keep them relevant. If they're faster or allow people to do it easier, they're good ideas. If they're addressing people's pains, they are also good ideas. And remember, when you're starting out, just showing people where things are available, like list the 10 best, outsourcing places for people who are interested in outsourcing. This is where you're understanding your market, understand your pains, gains, and jobs to be done. That is where you hit the juice. That's where it all works. So Dan says, what are you teaching in October? Sell me on coming over. Very simple, Dan. I want you to take a post-it note and I want you to write on it the single biggest problem you have with your business. And at the end of the 2 days, you walk away with a solution to that and the exact steps that you need to take to solve that particular problem. That's what it's all about. There's no... the workshops are workshops. They're about solving your particular issues. It's not me teaching a specific curriculum. I don't tend to do, though, especially for these small workshops, I don't tend to teach curriculum because that's really well done in terms of on your own time and your own pace, like downloading the challenge, for example. Right? Very detailed videos, highly edited, highly, very specific, tightly, directed and choreographed training. Whereas with workshops, getting people together and solving problems, because it's actually easier to solve problems with a group of people than trying to solve it by yourself. Masterminds are a big deal. This week, I'm heading up to Sydney for 3 days. James Shranko, Dean Jackson, myself, and some people that are coming to Dean's workshop are spending 3 days workshopping. And that's exciting because the solutions that I come with myself, when I get colleagues like Dean and James to look at my stuff, I'll get better ideas, and hopefully I'll be able to contribute and help to them, or at least bring some Tim Tams. But that's the idea behind it. So that's why I tend to do workshops that way. So, but thank you for asking, and it does give me an excuse one more time. Last plug: if you are interested in coming along to those workshops in San Diego and Orlando at the end of October, start of November, you can go to eddale.co/workshop-OCT. That's October-2016. So thanks for allowing me to plug that once more, Dan. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, Cheryl asks, at the end of last week's session, what are your thoughts on the new domain extensions, .co.solutions.care? Is .co the new .com? I secured .com.ca .org.net when I registered my trademark. Thanks. I use .co, and it's not that it's been around for years now. I was involved in the launch of .co many, many years ago, and that's why I always use .co, because I could never get .com because a bloody real estate agent in Canada got the domain eddale.com before me. It's a long, sad story. Of course, I was on the internet in 1994. I was able to go to every single website on the planet in one single day when there were 50 websites. I was on that early, but in Australia, it was Robert Ells. Robert Ells. There was one person in the entire country of Australia who was responsible for registering .com domain names, and he would not allow you to register a personal name as a .com, and it drove me nuts. Nor would he allow me to register boats.com. Like, I knew what domains were all about. He would not allow it. And it just drove me nuts. My domain registration number, you have a domain registration number when you get domain names, is AUD-05. I was the 5th person in Australia to be able to register domain names. And it's a sad story, as you can see, even though it's 94, 2004, 22 years ago, I'm still not over it. But there you have it. So, look, to answer your specific question, though, I think domain names, particularly as people get more used to the what have you got here, .solutions, .care, and so on, I think, having to have a .com 5 years ago was important because Google actually favoured .com names in their search results. Now it doesn't matter. Okay, it really doesn't. So get what suits you. If you can get the .com, it's nice out of habit. But I think as people get used to .infos, like I can think of .fm for podcast networks and radio stations, it's not the domain name that's important. I find it very hard to get worked up about domain names because I think it's the marketing around the name, the domain name, is way more important than the name itself. Google, for a search engine, like it's synonymous with the search engine now. Let me tell you, when Google first came out, Google was a stupid name for a search engine. What, infinite number? Was dumb, right, until it became synonymous. Yahoo was a dumb name until it became synonymous with that, it was the front page of everybody's internet experience for years before they botched it. Those sorts of... Facebook, what's Facebook? It had some relevance in terms of the Facebooks and yearbooks that you had in colleges, but seriously, a name doesn't mean anything until the marketing around it. So I don't get stressed about domain names or indeed names of products because your marketing is what will push that forward. All right, hopefully that helps you there, Cheryl. Diane says, what campaign would you recommend I start with to build my list and make immediate sales? That's very simply answered. Just follow the challenge. Free course, go to challenge.co. It's there step by step by step. And see what I mean? Every single week I get asked these questions about starting. It's there for you. Challenge.co. Head there, register, start working the program, and you'll do really, really well. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, here's a really good one. Nicolina asks, hi Ed, I finally started the challenge. Well, good for you. There's one thing that makes me confused. In Module 1, Market Recon, I started to research Google, Facebook, and Amazon for my keyword, and I barely find anything in my native language, which in this case happens to be Serbian. So my question is, how should I do my research? Am I right if I do research in English for the keyword virtual assistant, which is the target market, are local people in Serbia, Croatia, and Bosnia, who, by the way, all speak Serbian. As the course I'm planning to create is in Serbian too. Will this research give me the right results? Global virtual assistant market is huge, but is pretty much unknown here in Serbia. And I think now this is full circle. I think you're answering your own question in some way. Thought this will be an advantage for my course. Thank you for being so motivational with your live shows. My pleasure. And I'm so glad you asked this question, Nicolina, because it's really good. And I think more than ever, now as we're broadcasting this in 2016, the opportunities for native language courses and information marketing products and services is huge. In the old days, there weren't enough people online in, say, for example, in Croatia and Bosnia, for example, that to make some of these niche products, people weren't buying, they weren't spending. Now it's completely different because thanks to this baby, the iPhone, the mobile phone, now everybody's online. So all of those things are a big part of it. Now, in your particular case, so here's the deal. If you're going to do a native language program, which is what you are talking about, an information product, which I think is a great idea, please ensure that you do all your research in your native language. Okay, because now you can, of course, restrict your research and you can check for English in your native language. But if you're looking for, because there are a lot of information marketing, for example, I'm constantly amazed and jealous, frankly, because, I've got wonderful clients in Germany and all over the world, in Japan and so on, where English is a second language and they're learning their marketing. You, Nicolina, probably learning marketing in English, and it's your second language. I can barely speak English. So it's an amazing advantage. And yet, if you're doing an information marketing product, maybe doing that research in English as a general rule is not a bad idea. However, in your case, you're absolutely right. Now, if there's not a lot of mention, if you're doing general research and you can't see a lot of information for online virtual assistants, it means one of two things. Okay? One is there's no interest. Now, remember Dale's law of marketing. Every market is a market. In this day and age, every market is a market. We talk about this in the first week of the challenge, right? In the old days, you used to have to test to see if there was a market. It's not, every market is a market. If people are making money selling piano stool restoration ideas, if they're, valuing pottery, is a sequence dog parks of the United States is a market. If they're markets, every market is a market. So one is potentially there's just no, it's not a market with an immediate need. Okay. But what we have found as businesses expand, you've seen the trend everywhere else on the planet, particularly, in terms of English-speaking markets, United States, Australia, United Kingdom, and so on, where virtual assistants have become incredibly popular. So you can see a trend coming down the pipe, but it's not really being talked about inside of your particular country. So how do we get? So it's not a known need. Apple have become the largest company on the planet by creating products as a general rule, which people didn't need when they started. Nobody needed a portable iPod music player. Nobody needed it. There were plenty of phones on the market before the iPhone hit, right? And again, the Mac, with its point-and-click interface. So if you've got a market which is, it's worked in other areas and you think it might work in your particular region, but it's an unknown need, what do? Guess what? We create an experiment. So personally, what I would do, and I love Facebook for this, I would create a little campaign in your own native language and think about what are the biggest pains that a virtual assistant are solving. This is where understanding your market is really, really important. And, you can, there are many reasons. Let's just pick one, where you're overwhelmed with tasks where you're not adding value, right? So what I would do is I would run a little Facebook ad in Serbia, restricted to those regions, Bosnia, where are we? Oh, it's gone off the page. Where are we? Where's your question? Here it is, Nicolina. Yeah, so we've got Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia. Right, I would restrict my Facebook campaign to those markets, obviously using Serbian as a language, and I would come up with a topic which is, hey, are you buried with work that's frustrating you and not adding any value? Have you thought of using a virtual assistant? Click here. And then just create an opt-in page, which is a page where you can say, hey, you interested in learning how a virtual assistant can help you for pennies in the dollar or whatever the equivalent currency, or euros. Is it euros in Serbia? Anyway, you know what I mean. Whatever currency it is, for, cents in the euro dollar, whatever it happens to be. That is how I would test. So for a very small amount of euros, you can just see whether you don't have to have a product, you don't have to put any effort or energy in it. You just see if you can make that market, as the great Dean Jackson would say, you make it from a invisible market to a visible market. So you can get an idea of how many people click through to the page, right? How many people look at the ad? How many impressions does the ad get? You can start to think, and then you think about the types of groups that would be far more switched on to virtual assistants. So think about the industries that are more likely to be hip to. So for example, how many 4-hour work week, classic example, Tim Ferriss. So maybe you could do a campaign, because Tim Ferriss, well-known influencer, and probably brought to the attention of a lot of the world the concept of virtual assistants with the 4-hour work week. Maybe do a Facebook campaign targeted to people who like Tim Ferriss in Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia, and do it that way. So think of creative tests that you could do. You could run a Google campaign, just restrict it to that local area, just to see if people are going to click, just to see if there's interest. So for the equivalent, in US dollars of a $20 US campaign, you can get a lot of answers, and you can start to figure out, and you're testing in the field, right? So, a lot of people will say, well, do some keyword research, do some stuff, and you've done that, right? And you can't see much in the way of keyword research. So you know what the pains are. You know what drives people towards virtual assistants. You can see that trend coming. So why not utilize that? I would look at the people who are well known, the Chris Druckers of the world, and look at some of their hooks and study some of their marketing and use those same hooks. I mean, they've tested them, for goodness sake. Apply them in your language. Don't copy their stuff verbatim, but use the hooks, use the ideas behind it, and do that. And I think that would be a brilliant way to test that market. So you're testing in the field, you're conducting an experiment, and I think that is a great thing to do. All right. Athenios says, and I'm sure I mispronounced that, "Hi, I'd love your broadcasts. I have a question in regards to a niche market of project management. In your training, you mentioned the online learning industry is worth $107 billion in 2015. It's huge. I've previously packaged lectures and presented at university on the subject of project management. Is this style of packaged information aimed at university level transferable to an online information market? Spoiler alert, yes. Is the high demand for project management learning at uni likely to be present in an online market? Again, spoiler alert, yes. I mean, people are always looking for ways to better manage their projects. For goodness sake, one of our most successful products over the last 12 months has been, Achiever Formula, Kanban for entrepreneurs. This is effectively a style or methodology of agile methodology for project management. It's a huge area, right? It's a real pain point for people. So the answer is yes. Does the package material necessarily need to be much different? The answer, no, it doesn't. I mean, if it's effective and it works in university, I would actually utilize that as a marketing point. I would say, the same, get access, could cost, again, I'm just making this up, but what a college in the United States, a college course in project management can cost thousands and thousands of dollars, right, as part of an MBA or something like that. So, a university level course, delivered through your market. You can also check on this. What other ways could we check and confirm this is true? You could go to online learning marketplaces like Udemy or lynda.com and just see whether people are looking at and doing project management courses. There's lots of easy, simple ways that you can research this, but the answer is yes. Remember the Dale law, every market is a market, but in project management, I mean, it's a no-brainer. The trick, what do you have to do? You have to understand the market, which I suspect you do, but understand it from the point of view of pains, gains, and jobs to be done. You need to serve that market, which you're obviously doing already. I mean, you're teaching a university level course in this, so you've definitely got to do that. But here's the thing, traffic and list building. You need to build a list of people who are interested in this topic. And then I suppose the other thing you may want to identify is what's unique about your project management course. What do you teach that is different, or an approach or something that you do which makes a difference or makes it better? Identifying that unique selling proposition is another great part of what you're doing, because that'll become important in your marketing as you're going forward. But right now, pains, gains, jobs to be done, building a list, that's the important job. Project management is a very needed online course, trust me on this, but you can verify, trust but verify is, I don't know, who was it who said that? That would be crazy. James has dropped in, and this is a great segue because we're going to go to our hot seat. I've got to come up with a nice bumper for this. We're going to do our hot seat shortly. But James asks, would you risk losing the app reviews in order to change the icon and the screenshots? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. Because Apple doesn't forget where the app reviews are, and if you're changing the screenshots, which we're going to come to in just a minute, if you're changing the screenshots, which we've identified is a force multiplier when it comes to getting downloads for your app, and this is particularly important when we come paper tap, I should say. Paper tap is 6 weeks away, 8 weeks away. We don't know when. Apple hasn't said when it's going to roll out, but it's soon. iOS 10 is going to happen next month, and then it'll roll out. Icon and screenshots are super duper crucial. And in fact, stay tuned, because we're going to have a hot seat on this exact topic. And we will do that right now, I think. And actually, interestingly, Leah's asked a question here about realistic percentages for app install campaigns. Well, guess what? We're going to go into that in a minute. So let's go to not the videotape, but let's do our app review. And let me just I'll just read this topic out for you. And Simon Goodwin submitted into the Digital Success Elite, actually, Facebook group. Let's just go into my app here and let's just have a look. Hot seat request. Many will have seen me post in Achiever Formula, we certainly have, as well as on Ed's page. Currently, I have a Scrivcast app. Now, a Scrivcast app, for those of you know, is a product that we publish, which is effectively, the best way to describe it is like, obviously now, mobile is where you should be first looking, right? Not desktop. You need to build your audience on mobile, because most people have mobile. 94% of people look at Facebook on mobile. Joe and Jane Smith look at for mobile. Get it. Mobile's important. So we said to ourselves, okay, imagine if we were doing blogging, if we wanted to interact with our market on a daily basis, what would we build as an app, as a mobile first approach? And Scrivcast was born. And it's a lovely product, if I do say so myself. So Simon has a Scrivcast. And so far I've done little marketing on it. I currently get around 350 page views in the store per month, and we're going to come back to this in a second, from which I get around 60 application page views. I then average around the 40% mark in downloads. I have around 200 installs. Within the app, I have a variety of content. He has some courses that are available for sale and tutorials that require an email subscription. Yet my subscription list has only grown by 2 in 3 months. Help me. Clearly, I'm getting something wrong. I know I need to promote more, but I would have expected a higher sub rate. Well, Simon, as we get into the data, and thank you for providing me so many numbers and things, I think you'll find that you're asking the wrong question, because you're actually doing a lot of things right. The thing that made alarm bells go off in my head, though, was your mention of only 350 impressions. Now, you were very generous in sending me your stats, so I'm going to actually bring these up for everybody to have a look at. Here, I popped them in the photos column. Let's put it this way, and then let's bring this up on the screen. And so if you're watching this on video, you'll actually see these stats, but don't worry, I'll read them out to you if you're listening on the podcast. These three statistics, but this is a screenshot from the statistics that Apple gives you, and I call them the holy triumvirate of stats. I really have to work on that phrasing. Triumvirate. You know what I mean? The three most important stats when it comes to your app. Okay, they are called here impressions, of which in the last month he's had 304, product page views 45, and app units 18. These to me are the most vital stats. Okay, why am I concerned? Because here 304 impressions over the last 30 days means 10 impressions a day, which is super duper low. Okay, his topic is learn to paint, right? This is a very interesting and worthwhile topic, and his Scriptcast is about learning to paint. Lots of people want to do that. It's a great market, really, really useful. So the very first thing is the impressions number seems super low. Why do I say it's low? Because I know that if piano stool restoration gets around 40 to 50 impressions and 5 to 10 downloads a day, then something is up with the impressions count. And the good news is, let's define what impressions is. Okay, impressions is and let's listen to this very specifically. Apple counts an impression as any time somebody sees the icon of your app in the App Store. Okay, so where can people see your icon? They can see when it's featured, when it hits the front page. How awesome is that, right? That is counted as an impression. Or but most impressions, 65% of impressions, are actually from searching in the App Store. So when the first thing that immediately I did, let's blank shot this so you can concentrate on my screen. Okay, so the first thing I did was I went to the App Store and I hit the search icon, and guess what? If it's Learn to Paint, the name of the app is Learn to Paint, then I'm going to type Learn to Paint and hit search. And as you'll see, the number one there is how to paint, learn how to paint easily. Lim Ching Kong. It's a 99-cent app. And it's got how to paint, and it's got how to paint, and it's different types of paintings there on the screenshots. Then we've got a how to draw, step-by-step drawing lessons and colouring pages. Notice most of these have subheads, right? Learn how to paint easily. So it's not only how to paint, but it's also there's a subhead, learn how to paint easily. Why are they there? Well, for one of the reasons is that when it comes to your App Store search results, having a subhead, so how to paint is the title of the app, learn how to paint easily is the subhead. Now, I actually like the second one. I think it's even better. How to draw dash, that's the title. Then the subhead is step-by-step drawing lessons and colouring pages. Now, that's the actual name in Apple terms from a metadata perspective. That's the name of the entire app. But instantly, when I'm searching, that gives me something more to look at. Okay, because it's telling me, oh, okay, cool, step-by-step drawing lessons and colouring pages. I want to learn how to draw, and I want to learn step-by-step. And it's, the screenshots here I'm not too excited about, but even the first one, more than 200 instructions, even though I have a problem with the way that's written. But hey, wow, cool, 200 lessons, even if the English is not quite right. The third one is I think I like it even better. Let's learn how to draw. And what do you want to draw? And it's got the screenshot, dogs, trains, monsters, and then let's how to learn to draw. It's good looking, it looks professional, it works great. Now, unfortunately, none of these have been Simon's. And indeed, the first Leisure Painter magazine is the first magazine. That's 4 or 5 down. Now, we don't have long enough in this podcast. I spent, and I'm not kidding, Simon, I spent 10 minutes scrolling like I am now through the App Store trying to find your app. It's nowhere near the top. This is good news because it tells me that there's something fundamentally wrong. So, to find Simon's app in the end, I had to go to Learn to Paint, and then I had to put Simon's name because I knew he was the developer. And there we are. Finally, we've got Simon's thing. And the only reason I would have found that is if I'd actually I knew the name of the developer. All right? There's no way I would have found that without the exact link or the thing. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the issues with this app, because let's go back to photos again. Look at how, when people finally go to his product, so the definition of product page views, which is the second most important metric, product page views is when somebody has seen your app store description. So it's your sales page. So for example, what I'm seeing on screen is the search result. That's counted as an impression from an Apple perspective. If I tap on this, it actually takes me to Simon's page, whereas there's the description, all the screenshots, the reviews, etc. While we're here, I'll note there is absolutely 0 reviews. Now I'm looking in the United States App Store, but there is 0 reviews. Surely you can find somebody to give you some reviews, Simon, because even 1 or 2 reviews would help. Okay? That's a real problem. Even in all versions, there's no reviews. So, and that is a factor in getting your page to show up in the search results. But there's a more fundamental problem. However, again, let's go back. Of 45 people who have seen his page, guess what? 18 people downloaded. That is right in the pocket. That's where we want to see this thing. So if we can get more people to have a look at his product page, he's going to get more downloads. And with more downloads, we'll solve the email collection problem. Okay, because that's not his problem. His problem is actually just not enough views at the top end of the funnel. Like he's getting, I don't know what that is exactly. It must be close to 45. Yeah, it's about our 40% sweet spot. It's almost spot on. So guess what that says to me? That says to me, and I'm not surprised, if people see his page, because his first screenshot says Learn to Paint. Free tutorials, weekly articles, offers, and interviews. It's easy. It's simple. I would say to him that his second screenshot is a bit wasted because it doesn't sell. It's a literal screenshot. It looks pretty, but it doesn't sell. I'd put some sort of banner with a benefit to just help juice that. But let's face it, 40% of people, once they've seen the description page, are actually downloading this app. That's good. His problem is there's not enough people, and it's because his Apple metadata is shot. And we know this because the stats tell us everything, because we've seen those impressions. All right, so that's what Simon has done. Now, there's one thing on the... Let's go here. Let's go there. Okay, let's come back to me for a second. Okay, so Simon. All right. The problem is in the metadata. What is the metadata? So Apple calls metadata a number of things. First of all, it's the title. Okay, the title of your app is crucial in terms of people discovering. People refer to this as App Store SEO, App Store Search Engine Optimization. Call it what you will. But that's where your problem is. You're just not getting enough app views. It's serious. It's just, you're not getting enough impressions. Those impressions are so low. To give you some context, Digital Publisher, which is my poor red-headed stepchild, right, we do nothing, we use it for testing only, has over 55,000 impressions a month. Okay, 55,000 impressions a month. All right, just to put some context around it. And that's in a tiny, the people who want to do internet marketing, if you look at learn to do internet marketing versus learn to paint, there are literally order of magnitude more people who are interested in learning to paint than internet marketing. So I just want you to get through your head why that is such a vital thing, and it's the metadata. So our title is important. So again, notice those number 1 and 2. So if we go to learn to paint, our number 1 keyword, right? Our learn to paint, how to paint, learn how to paint easily. Okay, that is our number 1 thing. Okay, and by the way, the only reviews he has there are terrible reviews. Review number 2, 1 star, want my money back, need help. I like the app, but the ads are preventing me from clicking on the more option. This is a horrible, horrible app. It's an embarrassment. You make these metadata changes, Simon, and you're going to explode your impressions count, because that's what the problem is here. Okay, that is the problem. So for a start, you need a subhead. Learn to paint for who, for what, for how, for why. This directly, the purpose of adding a subhead to any app, and every app should have them, is to help filter out, right there at the top, filter people. Also, every word that you use in your subhead is a keyword that is used by Apple to rank your app. And as you see, and because your problem, I know what exactly your problem is, and I'm building up to it, this is a key. Just remember that. The second thing that is important with our metadata, so iTunes, well, is the title, subtitle. The description in your app is also important. Now, your description needs work. Okay, a lot of your description, if we go, where do we learn to paint? I have to put Simon in here so I can find the description. Okay, so the description here, it actually starts off pretty well. It's, learn to paint is an app designed to help you to learn to paint. Bit reductive, but we hope to inspire, tutor, and aid you during your journey as an artist. Completely cool. This app has a number of free areas, including daily articles, questions and answers, as well as over 1 hour's phrasing. Now, here's the thing. I'm picking up, and trust me, I feel like a heel pointing these things out, because I am the worst grammar, punctuation, writing person of all time. I failed high school English, okay? So I feel desperately embarrassed in pointing this stuff out. But why do I point it out? Is because these are subconscious triggers that stop people downloading. As soon as they see poor English, or they see a plural where it should be singular, that's about as much as I know when it comes to punctuation, it's a trigger. It's an instant trigger for people to stop downloading. And as Apple gets smart with neural networks, and they can pick this stuff up, right? This is grammar check stuff, right? So that's a problem. Now, where it becomes a real problem, though, is we also have a paid area, and you spend the rest, an entire paragraph here on talking about payment. Let people get into your app first, okay? Draw them into the app. Smother them with awesome stuff, and then let's get their emails. Let's get their paid stuff. Already you're flagging to people, I want to sell you stuff, right? And you haven't given your app a chance to shine, because, and this is the good news, your app looks awesome, right? It's a really, really good looking app. Like, it's compared to the crap that is actually, in this Learn to Paint section. Oh my goodness, your stuff is so much better, Simon. And so it's a tragedy that people aren't seeing it. Okay, reviews. I've already mentioned there are no reviews. For goodness sake, get some reviews. Don't pay for them. Paid review, because it's obvious, and Apple will kill you. And if you lose your Apple developer account, you're in all sorts of trouble. But for goodness sake, friends, family, people, help, right? Get some reviews for your app, because that will help immensely and it'll shoot you up the rankings. Because at the moment, you're not even within... I couldn't find you. You're hundreds of layers down in the Learn to Paint keyword. But the main reason, and this is what I've been building up to, you've got to have the theatre, is your iTunes Connect keywords. Having the privilege of seeing a couple of thousand publishers of Magcasts and hundreds of Scrivcasters, whenever I hear a low impression count, I know the iTunes Connect keywords are stuffed. And fortunately, Simon, you sent me yours, which is awesome because I can help you with them, right? Because here's the thing, and you make the, and I'll just, hang on, I'll just be careful here. Okay, so your keywords are learn, painting, oil, paint, drawing, art, techniques, videos, tutorial. Okay, the first and most significant big problem here is that iTunes Connect keywords, if they appear in the title or subtitle of your app, you don't need to put them in your iTunes Connect. You're sucking up valuable keywords. Okay, so learn is in, paint is in your title. I don't know what the word is. It suffixes? I hope it's suffixes. The ings, the s's, the plurals, the variations of words, he, she, pronouns. Apple ignores all of those. So having painting and paint as keywords, it's a waste of time because it'll be picked up and you've got learn to paint. So all of a sudden you've got incredible, because here's the thing with iTunes Connect keywords, you have 100 characters because Apple aren't in the search biz. They don't know phrases. They don't know any of this stuff, right? You have 100 characters, okay, which in the English character set, basically each letter equals one character, 1 byte, 100 bytes of information is actually specifically, how user-friendly is that? Not. Whereas, for example, Mandarin, simplified Chinese, some characters actually require 2 bytes, so you use less. Anyway, small bit of trivia there. So, already you are repeating learn, painting, and paint. Don't need to be there. If you actually included your subhead, learn to paint, cool techniques and video tutorials to learn how to paint. You don't even need to do that last bit, just the cool tutorial. You wouldn't even need to use those. So you can then think way more about what keywords that you're using. Again, you've got oil here, you've got painting. What are the other keywords? Techniques, pains, all those sorts of things. Basically, you can, because you've repeated all these keywords, you're missing all the value of search. You fix this part up, which you can only do, by the way, with an app update. Fortunately for you, Scrivcast has an automatic app update feature so that you can change these. And that's going to fix your problems. You need a new subtitle to your name. You need to get some reviews and you need to get some good keywords in there. What are some of the techniques, the brushes? What are people searching for in learning to paint? This is where some keyword research is useful, just to get some feel for the types of, what the pains are, what people are doing. Then, with your description, for goodness, address the pains in your market. Here's what also, like for paint, I'll tell you right now, because I started, I don't know if many of you know this, but at the start of the year, I did a 30-day challenge of learning to draw, because it's something that I always wanted to do, and I thought it was, just beyond my capacity to do. I thought I wasn't challenged, and I thought, that's crazy. Let's see. And so I did it for 30 days in January. And it was fascinating to me to learn all these things. But what are all the fears in my head getting into that? I can't do it. I've got no talent. You have to have some sort of God-given gift. With oil painting and painting, it's the mess, all the construction and setup, the mixing of paints, the easels, the equipment, the gear that you need. These are all the pains. These are all the questions that are going on in my head of why I haven't taken it. I love the idea of doing it, but I don't know how to do all these things. So your description should be full of, this app will do this. It will solve this problem. It will solve this problem. It will help you with this. It will help you with this. It will help you with this. That's why pains are so important, because it gives you all of that information. Now, the final part of this, let's go to the app. I want to put you, because there's stuff that you should be absolutely congratulated on. Okay. The app itself is fantastic, right? It looks wonderful. Okay. It's professional. If it's a painting program, it should look good, right? So it should. And it does. It looks really good. Start painting with this simple 5-minute video. Now, I just want to give you some feedback on this. You struggle to paint any picture. Most people struggle with painting because they feel they can't draw. Watch our videos to show a really simple method to draw any subject. Awesome. Now, the title here on this page is video, okay, which is a issue. Now, by the way, I had to opt in. This was an email opt-in, which I was happy to do. That's great. Just a little bit of feedback on the video. You spent the first 5 minutes of the video was why, which was great, why I should be watching this. But then you go into the video and you have a computer program and you're showing a computer. I'm here to paint with an easel and oils. You didn't say why you were using the computer program. And that was a real problem, because I don't think I would have lasted long enough in terms of the video construction. Now, the technique that you were showing was really good. All you needed to do at the start of the video was say, why am I using this program why am I on the computer if I'm going to show you how to do oil painting and make it really easy for you? Well, did you know artists cheat? Because this is how they prepare to do a portrait. And it's it was really great information, but it's not there. Now, you can see here, you've got some downloadable courses, so people can tap to purchase, which is awesome. All of that's really good. Touch my ID and I've just spent $79. How awesome is that, though? One thing I would suggest, $79 is a lot for people. Why not give them a taste? Why not go for smaller amounts? You've got your daily articles here, which is really, really good. And for people who are watching on the live stream, it looks awesome, right? Everything, it's really good. You've got questions and answers. You've got some really good areas of this app, okay, which is really great. It's just the, all the content is great. To me, it's just a tragedy that people aren't finding out about this. Because if you get the downloads right, you get the impressions right, everything else is going to start building. So to get your, let's come back to me here. So to get your, let's turn off the phone. There we are. Simon, to get your impressions up, everything's going to flow through, because your ratio of page views to downloads is actually pretty darn good. So you've got to, the market's there. So we need to widen the funnel immensely, fix your keywords, and that will solve because your keywords are pretty much useless right now because they're repeating everything that's in the title. Add that, learn to paint, the program for blah, blah, and blah, right? So all of those count as keywords, and then you'll be on your way with impressions, right? You'll just see, you get a couple of reviews in the store, you will rocket up those charts. That's why reviews are so important. And more importantly, give people reasons to opt in. Make sure the very first thing that I went to that app, the app with, once I downloaded it, was an email. I don't even know you. Give people some truly free content. Get them hooked. Use push notifications, which you have in Scriptcast. In Scriptcast, you've got this awesome feature where you can send a push notification to send people to a specific article based on the fact whether they've looked at it or not looked at it. How cool is that? Right? So you can use deep linking to drive usage. Give people stuff genuinely for free. Don't just... If you've got them to download the app, you're halfway home. We can send them push notification methods. We can build up the usage of the app so that when you do offer stuff for download for email, utilize that. You can also utilize pages where you've got opt-in pages. So there's a free course. So you might want to try an opt-in page as part of that. And you can create a special opt-in page and you can deep link via push notification or email directly into that page in the app, which is so awesome. So you can build in your list that way. But the good news is the part that most people struggle with, you're right there in the... I think you could probably increase it with a little change in screenshot and getting your description better, but you're already at 40%, which is great. The impressions are so low for a market which is so big. So we get that impression solved. That'll have a lot more people flowing into the app. Then we can use push notifications. Then we can use great content. Don't make every single thing that they press on a booby trap bomb explode in their face to get their email. Let's slow roll this. You don't need to do that. Also consider some really cheap options, like some click, $79 in-app purchase. Somebody has to really think about that. Not to say that people don't. There are many examples. Gypsy Jazz Secrets is one that I love. They sell $49 courses till the cows come home for their market, but they also have lots of totally free tutorials so people can see the quality of their content and what they're doing. So there you have it. That is my... Leah's leaving a review for you now. Thank you, Leah. And it's really good. I'm going to do it too because the app itself is really good. Follow-up question 2. Linda says, if we want to add a subhead to our app title, do we need to resubmit the app to Apple for approval? Yes, you do. But the good news is because your app's already in the App Store, your app will continue to go on while it's in review, and then they'll just switch it over after they've done the review. So it's not a big deal. And indeed, in the old days, it used to be terrible, but most app reviews are happening in sort of 24, 48 hours. It's fantastic. So it works really good. Lee is saying his in-app purchase funnel looks like it should work great. It is good and it's great. You just need to do a little bit we're just trying to seal the deal too quickly. We want to build our tribe, and you've got them to download. So let's use push notifications. Let's give them cool content. You've got daily content. Let's see what people use push notification to encourage usage of the app, and then send them to an opt-in page for your email, and you'll be fine, right? You've got all the blocks in place. You just need to sort them through. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. This is the reason that I'm talking about apps a lot at the moment is because apps are the future, right? And you'll read a lot of people saying, apps are dead. Apps are, useless. People only look at 4 or 5 apps on their phone. And they're right in the sense that the vast majority of apps that people use on their home screen are the standards, the Facebooks, the Snapchats, the Twitter clients, or whatever it happens to be. But if you're an enthusiast in a market, most people think to make money, you need to have millions of downloads because that's the traditional VC-backed business model. For us, as info publishers who are serving our markets, there's never been a better time. Never been a better time. Because if we can get 1,000 people to download our app, then we can start testing things by sending push notifications. I mentioned last week Angelo Ionides with the Extraordinary Vision app, who did an entire crowdfunding campaign just using push notifications to get people to fund the creation of his app for the next year. How good is that? Right? People are so underutilizing push notifications. The fact is, most people's app usage is driven by push notifications, and you're not annoying people. If I'm interested in learning how to draw and you've just put up a new tutorial, or paint in your case, on how to do a really simple landscape, I would be really interested to have a look at that, and I will want to have a look at it. And I'll be thrilled to get that push notification. The dud push notifications, though, and when people say, hey, check out my app. Let's see and have a look at the latest stuff. Lazy, 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 right? you're not giving people a reason or a benefit for using or clicking on that push notification. They are incredibly powerful, but people aren't utilizing them yet. So that's why apps are important. The other big thing, and why we need to focus on that holy trinity of impressions, product page views, and app units, is because pay per tap is coming. Pay per tap is coming. 1 cent clicks are coming. I bet you, Simon, Learn to Paint 1 cent click, so you can be that top result for Learn to Paint, is going to be a 1 cent click when it starts out. Because there's no huge Supercell, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale that wants that keyword. Right? You're going to go in there and you're going to smash it. You're going to get more impressions than you know what to do with. And the good news is, we know if you get impressions, you're going to get downloads, right? Because you've got that part sorted out. 1 cent clicks. How many fortunes were created back in 2004 when pay per click, Google's only pay me if somebody clicks to your page, were made? How many fortunes were made? We're about to see that for the first time ever in history in 6 to 8 weeks' time. That's why it's so important. And indeed, if you want me to help you with your pay per tap, and as we finish for today, why not come along to one of my live workshops in the United States in the fall? By the way, if you're in Australia listening, we are going to have some workshops in mid-November. And for those of you who are in Europe, next year, February, I'm hoping at this stage, but nothing to announce just yet. But if you're in the United States, on the 29th and 30th of November, I'm coming to San Diego. And, people spend thousands of dollars on these workshops. This is a live small group, and it's an incredibly cost-effective way of getting involved and coming and work for 2 days. And we can work on your pay per tap campaign. We can work on doing all those things that I just did with Simon, but individually, one-on-one. And of course, we've got Orlando on the 5th and 6th of November for you East Coast types. You can get all the details at eddale.co/workshop-oct-2016. So workshop-oct-2016. All right, so I'd love to see you at a live workshop. And let me tell you, when you've got the group power of people in the room and using this new technology that we're going to be using for these workshops for the first time, which is so cool, and you're going to learn how to do it and then be able to take that home with you, it's going to be awesome. So I'd love to see you guys there. But as always, just to remind you, if you're listening on the podcast at any particular time, you can go to live.eddale.co. If you want me to do a hot seat, if you want to ask me a question, if you want me to review something on the show, leave a comment 24/7, and you never know your luck. We might do it on the actual program. If you happen to be listening to this on the podcast, love it if you could rate us. Speaking of ratings, love it if you could rate the Ed Dale Live podcast. It would be really useful. A 5-star rating would be really helpful for the reasons that I described in this episode in the hot seat. So with that, thanks very much, everybody, for being part of it. I hope you have a great week wherever you happen to be. I'm going to have an awesome week because I've got 3 days of masterminding at the end of the week with James Franco and Dean Jackson. Can't wait for that. And I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, folks. See you later on.